What's up, guys? Welcome back to another, well, I guess first ever post RLCS Q&A. We're doing this live. Ask me anything, I guess, is what the kids call it these days. So this will go on YouTube. This is live on Twitch right now, as you can see, with the Twitch chat to my right. And yeah, so we're just going to go through it, talk about post RLCS stuff, like how my trip was through RLCS. I'm not really talking about post, but during RLCS and the whole trip to Europe. Yeah, so I flew out Black Friday. We threw out Black Friday night, me, the wife, and the Giblet. Luckily, we had a red eye, which was really nice. It was the flight was at like 9:40, and Giblet usually goes to bed by 10 and then wakes up at 8 in the morning. So we were like, maybe this will work out. We waited till takeoff to feed him, because like so his ears don't get messed up. You know, a lot of swallowing helps. So by the time we were up in the air, by the time we fell asleep, it was probably like 10:30, and then he slept literally until we got to our hotel room, which I don't even like remember what time it was, but it was pretty late. The flight was about 7 hours, maybe 6.5, something like that. But then by the time I get to the hotel, that took another hour and a half to 2 hours, and then we just stayed up that day because of course the phone would fucking ring. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, so we stayed up all that day, which we got in at like 11 a.m. And then we just saw the sights for the next like week before the RLCS. I personally wanted the vacation after RLCS because, you know, it's kind of stressful getting ready for RLCS. I was still doing a couple things here or there, but my wife had to do it before because she's going back to work soon, finally, after having the baby. So we, Jesus Christ, shut up. Really? God damn it. Okay. Now it's shut up. So we were in Rembrandt Square, if anyone knows that, in Amsterdam, kind of like the party central area, which is kind of weird. But yeah, we hung out there. We saw lots of things. We went to like the Anne Frank house. We went to the zoo. We went to some other place I forget, like a lot of on and off, like bus tours, boat tours. We saw the light on the boats, bunch of stuff. It's good old times. And then RLCS happened, because I'm not going to bore you with the stuff I saw in Amsterdam. I assume no one really cares. But my wife really enjoyed it, and then it was on to RLCS. My wife didn't hang out a lot after Wednesday nights. Most of the time she was doing her own thing. I would see her at night, or she would come to the end of the show Saturday and Sunday. So Wednesday, all the players got in. I didn't show up to the hotel to around 5. We had dinner, and then this is where shit started hitting the fan. For me personally, it was not a good time. So we had dinner there at 6. I also went to the market earlier that day with my wife and her friends that showed up. So it could have been from that. But Wednesday night, massive food poisoning I got. I was puking for an hour from like 12 to 1. Slept for 2 hours. Then it was coming out the other way for another hour. It was really, really rough. Wednesday and Thursday was media day. So if you guys don't know, on Thursdays for RLCS, the players all show up Wednesday. So I got to see all the players, which I've seen most of them before. But we saw the rest of them. We saw the casters. And then we went on. So media day starts pretty early in the morning, so we have to do all 8 teams. So when you see those player interviews and like the video shots of all the players, that's all done in one day, and that's media day. So we basically, me and Leaf selected, or tried to select, players and questions for the players to answer. Generally, we let the players decide who to pick, but say if like Kings of Urban or Energy obviously wants Jacob again, I might be like, hey, why don't you try Sad Junior or Fireburner, because it might add a little bit more to the story. Or say for Orbit, rest in peace, we wanted Garrett to do it. And at first he decided like he didn't want to. He was going to have Turtle do it again. And then I was like, please do it, because that'd be really cool, because everyone thinks, you know, he's probably the best player right now in North America. He said okay, and then I think the nerves got the better of him, which is perfectly fine. So we went back to Turtle. But like, first thing first is we want players to be comfortable up there. But if like 2 of them are comfortable and one's done it before, or we think one might have a better story, then we'll go with the other player. Excuse me. So that's how we choose the players. Then we write up the questions. based on how the team's performance was, how the players' performance was, then just personal questions if we can get anything out of there. So Thursday I was feeling like crap going into media day. I was supposed to do all 4 North America interviews. I already had all the questions down. I only did the Sad Junior one. That was the first interview of the day. Then I handed it off to Carpet so he could get some experience doing it. Plus, I just wasn't feeling all that great. So I let Carpet do the rest. So thank you, Carpet, for helping me out there. And Leaf did all the European player interviews, which were a little rougher because sometimes some of them can't speak English as well and stuff like that. So it was a little harder to get some questions wrong with them. But it seemed like all the player pieces were done really, really well. And how we do it is we basically do a team player questions, and then we do like an individual player questions as 2 different segments. So on day 1,
so are you the reason Doomsy left Team Rocket so he can stand closer to you in person?
I thought I turned off a text-to-speech on all of them. Merc guessed that is why Doomsy did leave Team Rocket. I have to turn that off. Hold on, because so he could hug me at LAN. So I butchered that joke, by the way, the Team Rocket joke when we were there. It was, yeah, I really, really butchered it. But, you know, it happens. Not everything's going to be perfect. Anyway, we'll continue. So where was I? Oh, yeah, media day. So we got all player interviews done. That takes most of the day. Go back, rest up. We come back Friday, and then I started getting sick. My throat was being a pain in the ass Friday morning. And Friday is just like tech rehearsal. We try, the players get to practice a ton on Friday. They were supposed to practice a little bit more on Thursday. Computers got a little bit delayed, but there was more PCs. So it did look like the level of play was a lot higher. I would say more on day 2 than day 1. Day 1 was still a little sketchy, but that could have just been nerves as well. But players got a decent amount of practice time in. I know they had some issues with how practice times were allocated. So we were gonna, so there's always improvements to be made there. And if any players are watching this, feel free to reach out to me, Lawler, to get those suggestions to us. We can organize them, bring them over to Twitch and Psionics, because we obviously want, you know, what you guys want. So just let us know, because I know Lawler's doing a big document. And if you want to throw them to me, that's fine too. Just throw them in like a Twitter DM so they're permanent somewhere, so then I have them, or throw it to my email. Yeah, so Friday tech rehearsals was fine. We went off. You know, it's the usual, just horsing around. We figure out what segments are what. Sometimes we don't have every graphic, so we're sometimes flying a little bit blind going into the first day a tiny bit. It wasn't too bad though. But we can improvise. We always have, so it's not a huge deal. At the desk at least. Then we go to day 1. We're gonna talk quickly about the days, not too much, so then we could further expand on it if we want in questions. Saturday crowd was awesome. I was upset because I didn't get to see the huge line outside. We showed up early in the morning because the doors didn't open until 2 hours before, I believe, and we showed up 4 hours before. There was only a few people out there at that time, and then we were doing rehearsals and getting dressed, and by the time we were getting dressed, they were letting everyone in. So I wish I could have seen all the players. So we had a player lounge that was just glass windows all the way around, and you could see outside the building, so that's where I would have saw it. That was on the 2nd floor. The player lounge was really cool. They had a pool table, ping pong table, lots of snacks and all that stuff, TV, and food, obviously. So, like, it was a good time for the players. Everyone was hanging out, having a good time up until, you know, game days. Anyway, we'll go back. Saturday, we start the day. I'll just get this out of the way at first. So we start the day, me, James, and Axel. And James had another panic attack, which really sucked. So you could tell that I was definitely not talking well in my first segment when they were panning through all the cameras. Most of that was because James was right to my left. People were trying to help him off the desk, and he like partially fainted. So like while that's all going on, 2 feet away from me, I'm trying to just pretend like nothing's wrong. So that was a little rough. And then of course, you know, I'm just worried about James that whole time. So that was a little rough going through that. And obviously I hope he just gets better. So I think most of my day 1 I thought was pretty shit. I felt like I wasn't speaking all that well. Sometimes my speech impediment, I have to change the words that I say. So teams like Energy, sometimes I have a hard time saying their name. So sometimes you'll hear me say like, oh, just the number one seed, or like Fireburner and the boys. I do that because I know I'm going to get caught on that word. So that's why sometimes I switch it up. Sometimes it works fine. Sometimes it sounds a little weird. I thought at day one I was having a little bit more of issues with that. And that's mostly just, it kind of just comes and goes. I don't really know why. Certain days it just is that way. It could have been a little bit of nerves, but I didn't feel too many nerves because before we went live Saturday, I go down and try and like talk to the fans a little bit. And everyone's always like super supportive, saying good luck and all that stuff. So I'm like, no one wants to see me mess up. Everyone's rooting me on. So I don't really get nervous with the crowd too much. Which is really weird because I hate public speaking and I am super nervous normally. But even on like Sunday morning, I'm out in front of the crowd. Like I decided 10 minutes before me and Carpet would speak in front of the crowd to just get them hyped up and thank them for coming. And I didn't care at all. So it's mostly because of the love that you guys show me and the love that I have for you guys that I can do this as a job, really. Yeah, so Saturday, I was kind of sick. Like my throat was still kind of meh. Like Saturday morning, I still probably sounded a little weird, but it wasn't too bad. By the time we went live, I had a lot of tea and honey and stuff, and I thought, the show went okay. Like I didn't think I did that great, but the games weren't that great. I thought the Orbit Mocketeers series I thought was actually fantastic. Both teams were playing really well, and I think Orbit just kind of collapsed after that because of like that's a really tough loss, and that's why they lost to Take Three probably. The Energy PZ series was good, but I thought the skill wasn't really there. It was just not very, not what I was expecting from those two teams. That's why I don't think that series was as good as the other series. And then, Flipside Fallen. Like I thought Mocket was that one team that could give them problems when if you watch my prediction video. Of course, I thought Flipside would just win out. They didn't, and Mocket was the one to beat them. I did have Mocket higher than Northern Gaming, at least, but I thought NA obviously would do a little bit better, which they did not, which was mostly Energy. And, of course, no one thought Take Three would do anything, so hats off to Take Three really showing up. So that was cool to see with the Take Three boys. And the whole dabbing thing was because they were going to celebrate with a double dab, whoever was sitting in the center, and then the other two would dab and give them fist pumps, or fist bumps. So that's why we were talking about dabbing for that. So that's why I was like, you know what, like I'll throw it in there because like the fans will think it's funny if I dab. If a Flipside wins, which I figured they would, or I'm sorry, like if Take Three beat Flipside, so I figured I would never have to dab. But then Take Three had a really good run. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it on Sunday. Sunday I thought went a lot better. The crowd was even a lot louder, and I thought I did pretty well up on the desk. You guys can let me know otherwise. And I thought everything went really, really well. We got Giblet on the stream. Saturday night, we were supposed to get Giblet on, or I asked them, I'm like, hey, can we get Giblet just as like a closing of the show? I'll just plop him on the desk, and that's how we'll close the show. And they thought like the lights might be too bright in his eyes and stuff, which I'm like, hey, hats off to you because I should be thinking that, but whatever. So instead, they planned out that I would have a seat on Sunday where they would shine a light on us from like further away, so it wouldn't be that big a deal, and they would have a camera on us for one of the games. So we did that instead. Like obviously, normally like I am up top, and my wife and my baby were up there as well. There was a couple rows kind of sectioned off for the casters and like other Twitch people, science people. So that's where my wife was at the end of both days. So of course, like that was planned. Like obviously, I'm not sitting there with Giblet the entire time because I have a job to do. But like it was really fun, and that's a really cool moment that I always have with my son. So that was a neat time. And then Sunday was great. The crowd was great on Sunday. It got a lot louder, and from there we went to the post game celebration party. That was good. Hanging out with people there. I'm going to go more into like casters and like Kelly and all that stuff as we go through questions if they come up. If not, I'll just bring them up myself. But on that note, I will get into more questions in a second. I have a few from Twitter. Let's do it. Okay, so I missed most of that chat because I was going on that rant. So if you have anything to say about that rant, I will pick it up in a little bit. So let's go into it. First question from RL Shots. Do you think NA teams will get better? Crying emoji face. So, like, I think there's a lot of, like, no matter what happens, like, if it's like a win is a win and a loss is a loss. But, like, they were literally, for Orbit's sake, they were literally one touch away from beating Mocket, and who knows how far they could have gotten after that. While Mocket made it all the way to the grand finals from the upper side of the bracket, which, like, Orbit was the closest team to them at that time on day one. Also, Flipside, when they were scrimming, the reason why Marky said he would rather play Mocket is because Flipside, the only team they were worried about from scrims was Orbit. Orbit was playing really well against Flipside during scrims. So Flipside, that's why Marky was like, I want to play Mocket because we know that we can beat them, while Orbit is kind of that unknown, and Orbit was playing really, really well during scrims. So I think Orbit could have made a run if that one touch was different, like if Garrett got that one touch or if one of them rotated back, yada, yada, of course. Like, I don't think NA is that far off from Europe in the grand scheme of things. Like, I think Europe is still better. But I think what the case was, it could be some about the home crowd. A lot of it is nerves, just the experience of European players. But at the same time, Mocket had Violent Panda and Devo, and they, first land, they had a really good showing. So it's not always that. Like, I think maybe the European players maybe are just more mature, or maybe they have that leadership role. With, like, Pashy, maybe he's the one saying, like, hey, don't worry about it. I've been here before and all that stuff. And maybe that helped them more. Like, Genesis just seemed like nerves got the better of them. It seemed like they needed a morale boost. Like, I don't think Quinn's necessarily the answer for that team because, like, I think online they would have suffered more. But maybe not picking up such a young guy in Classics when coming to the LAN without them having, like, a leadership role with Espion and Pluto not seeming to fill that very well in the live environment. Of course, it could have just been one LAN, but they really performed poorly. So who knows? Like, maybe teams have to look more into players that are more morale boosting, or teams that want to have a little bit more fun. Like, Take 3 was just there to have fun. It seemed like that helped them a lot. But Europe's really good. Northern Gaming, like, I thought their team was worse than before, but Mystic, a brand new LAN player as well, he really did show up during the LAN. I don't expect Northern to even keep him, possibly, because online, like, I thought Northern does not have a chance against Flipside with Mystic on the team. But who knows? Maybe he's still improving a ton, because he's improved a lot since the start of the season, so maybe he'll continue to do that, and that team will get better and better as we go. But I had doubts going in because Mystic didn't look that great during the season, in my mind. Kyle asks, how's that dab feeling? That was my first ever dab. It wasn't bad. Like, I did, like, not actual practice ones, but, like, so I had to ask people, I'm like, how did the hands go? Like, is it a fist bump in the air, or if it's a hands out? So they said it was a hands out, like almost like a Hitler salute or something. I don't know. The only thing I thought I did bad was my head should have been more that way with the hand out, but I thought it was a pretty decent dab. I'm not gonna lie. Like, of course, a lot of people are gonna be like, cringe, whatever. But, like, we're trying to have fun on the desk as well, and I thought that would, add a little fun to it. So that's why I went with that. We had a good time with it. If people want to say cringe, feel free. I don't care. Come on. I'm 29. Like, I'm not actually, whatever. We'll continue. Do I enjoy being on the analyst desk or playing competitively more? So I got this by a couple people. One guy from Japan, but I didn't copy his in. And Jeff Dawes. Best thing about being an analyst. Thanks. So I enjoy being on the desk more. One, because when you play competitively, there are millions of players that want your spot, and it's a lot easier to grab that spot than if I'm on the analyst desk. Like, the analyst desk, it's gonna be hard to overthrow me, and so that means consistent pay, which at this point in my life, that is what I need. I don't need to be playing competitively, hoping or dreaming for that big win and the big money. Of course, I love playing competitively, but at the same time, I have no time to play competitively. Being on the analyst desk, I can control my time a little bit more, and not have to just grind out in Rocket League over and over and over again. So my time can be better used. It's just more value versus time. But at the same time, like, I love being a part of this community, and that's the best way to be a part of it, is being on the desk or being on YouTube and all this stuff on Twitch. So that's why I'm trying to do that. The best thing about being an analyst, I don't know, it's just fun. Like, I like hanging out with the guys. Like, we're all a family. Like, we included Kelly like into the family this weekend. We all had a great time. We, like, every single time we all get to hang out, it's almost like, hey, I'm on vacation or whatever. Like, obviously, like, we have a job to do, and there is times where it's like a little rough, but at the same time, like, I know that like Lawler, Carpet, Shogun, Leaf, Wave, James, they all have my back. We all have each other's backs completely. So we all know that. The Golden Boy helps us out as well. Jadel helps us out. Now there's a guy named Robin in Twitch that's gonna be helping us out, and then of course like Kelly killed it. We were helping her a ton throughout because obviously she's more new to the Rocket League scene. Like the Greasy question kind of got overhead, which I thought was my fault because I should have made sure like I mentioned that a bunch of times before she went up, thinking that could have been an answer, but we were more looking at questions than answers. So that was probably more on me than I feel on her. But that's, like that's really hard to come in as a host. Like she was very professional and did a great job as the host. So hats off to her. And yeah, she one of the best things that she said, we were at the after party, and she's like, I love this community so much because no other esport can be like, yeah, let's throw a baby on stream, and the stream goes absolutely nuts. Like, this is a family between the community, between the casters, between the players. We all love each other. We're all having a good time. We all support each other so much. Like, you're not going to see a baby on a Call of Duty stream and people are like, oh my God, going nuts. Like, people actually care about, like, my child, which is fucking weird. And I love it, and I love you for it. But she's like, this is fucking awesome. Like, this is what every game should try to be. And it was just a really great quote that I thought from her that shows like how much like the Rocket League community loves each other, and we're all just trying to grow this thing together, which is awesome. So let's just keep doing it. Let's keep getting bigger and better. Next question. Mr. Exhibit, has this success of RLCS made you consider playing again? So again, like the success I assume means more of like money wise, but again, I'm not here to try and compete. I probably shouldn't have added this question, but whatever. I'm more about wanting to just make the show better. And if the show gets better, then I'm happy. And if we get more viewers, I'm happy. Then the players get paid more. So be it. It's really hard to stay on top. It's going to be really hard for Flipside to stay on top, even though they have been basically all 2016. Eventually, teams are going to show up and compete with them. So it's really hard to stay on top. Like as we saw with G2. That was not very easy. But yeah, so there's that question. And then, did the family enjoy the trip? And did I have an urge to cast the grand finals? Who was the tourney MVP and surprise player? Excuse me, sorry. So surprise player, we'll take that one first. I probably thought Mystic played really, really well on day 2. He might give my surprise player. Maybe Violent Panda for all his clutch overtime goals throughout the entire tournament. Was a pretty surprise player, I guess, to an extent. Zane Jackie. Yeah, it's hard to take 3. I don't know who did best. They all kind of showed up. It was mostly Rizzo and Zane Jackie. Insol was a little quieter. Personally, what I saw anyway. Zane Jackie had a pretty good showing, but Rizzo also did with his really high shooting accuracy. So maybe Rizzo was a surprise player, because honestly, I think his third rotation is kind of shit sometimes. Sometimes he'll go for challenges that are just terrible, and then it's just a wide open net, which a lot of times we don't really catch like who was that third rotation. But I saw it a lot during the playoffs, but it seemed like he cleaned that up a ton, and Take 3 was not giving away any easy goals, and it worked out really well for them. Who was the tourney MVP? So like, I was talking to Johnny Boy about it. Like, I haven't looked at all the stats yet, but like I would probably say Cook's here. He had a lot of clutch goals in the finals. He was saying Devo. And honestly, like I could see giving it to a losing team if it was closer, but it was 2-8 in the finals, and I can't really see giving it to a team that went 2-8 in the finals. I didn't think Devo did that much better than everyone else on his team. At the same time, like Cookshire didn't do as great compared to like Markey and Greasy. Like Greasy really showed up towards the end. Markey was pretty solid throughout, but I'd probably give it to Cooks. He had the overtime winner. He had a lot of clutch goals. He had some misses too, but I thought Cooks had a pretty good tournament. I haven't looked at all the stats though. It's really hard to judge because you're trying to watch everything. But I thought Cooks had a pretty good tournament, and he's probably the best player in the world. So, it kind of worked out. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm coughing a lot. Hold on. Yeah, if Maki Aces won, then definitely Devo. But going 2-8, like say it was really close that last match of the best of 7, maybe I can give it to Devo, but I don't know. But that's more of like what do you think MVP means to you? There's a lot of different ways to go about that. Like you could go clearly off stats, or you could go off clutch moments, or you could go off of compared to their regular season. Like how much they improved. Like this team wouldn't be anywhere. Like if that player was playing like how he did during the regular season, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, that's all the questions I have from Twitter, and we'll continue on here. If you have any questions on Twitch, just at me. And if you asked them before, I missed them, so just at me and throw them up in the Twitch chat, and we'll get to them. But the last part of Scott's question, I don't know if I mentioned his name, but did the family enjoy the trip? Of course, yeah, they had a really good time. My wife had a little bit of a hard time, I would say, the last few days because she had to take care of the baby mostly by herself. But she was still having fun. She was going out with the baby a lot. The baby was great throughout the entire trip. He was like perfect most of it. He had a few crying fits at night trying to sleep, probably trying to change his time when he sleeps, like his 10 hours or whatever he does. But he was really good for the most part, just at night. Yeah, was a little bit too cryy. And yeah, let's continue. Merck sent me 2 more tweets on Twitter. I'm not checking Twitter anymore, Merck, so feel free to throw them on here. Predicted team changes by Solarian. That's a pretty good one. So Orbit's gone. They disbanded. I'm not terribly surprised. They went to 2 lands. It didn't perform in both. At the same time, though, they were 1 goal away at this time where they could have, went further. But, it happens. It's kind of like Cosmic. Like, if they didn't score that overtime goal on flip side in game 4 of that first round with over 0, where would have they landed? Like, say Flipside wins that game, that series is over. Cosmic could be out on day 1. Crow could be who the hell knows where. Instead, he moves in with over 0 and all that stuff, and history has changed. So it's a big change for sure. But predicted team changes. So Energy's the weird one for me. I don't know what they're going to do. They've been number 1 in NA for so long. Do they make a change? Do they stay the same? That one I could see going either way. That's one of those teams where they have something that works, but at the same time, there's going to be some teams that are formed out of these roster shuffles that are going to give them a run for their money. I could see them disbanded. But at the same time, they have a contract with an org, so they might not. I'm going to say they will not disband. At most, I could see Sad leaving or being kicked. I think Sad's role on the team has changed a lot. It seems like they're trying to fit him into places, and maybe there's question marks there. I have no idea. That's the only one I could see leaving, but I doubt it. Like, I think Sad, he brings a lot to the team. I think they just have to rekindle what that was. It seemed like they changed it up a little bit. He did play a little bit weird at the LAN during the first games. It was a little bit nerves. It seemed like he was trying to just go for balls that were definitely not his. It seemed like the trust issues were having some problems there, but I think that's more nerves, and it seemed like he kind of cleaned that up a little bit later on, but we'll see. If anyone leaves there, it would probably be Sad. Take 3, who the hell knows? They might stay together. Honestly, I don't think any of those 3 players are amazing, if that's fair to say. Maybe Zane Jackie gets on a better team. Rizzo and Insole, I don't know. Like I know a lot of people like Rizzo, and a lot of people consider him like really good. Like I've seen some hype around Rizzo, which of course we all love Rizzo. He's great, but I don't think personally he's like an amazing player. But that's just my thought. You know, what are you gonna do? What else? We got Orbit to span in. Garrett probably can pick wherever he wants to go. He's probably the best player in North America right now. Turtle, I thought, had a poor showing lately. He's been performing a little bit under par. He'll get on a team for sure. That's in contention for like a top 4 spot. Like say it's the same format for LAN. But he seems like he might be plateauing compared to some of the other players. That's a possibility. I'm not sure. Moses will probably be on one of those teams on the cusp where he'll make a run at it. He'll probably be in league play, but I think he might be on one of the bottom 4 teams, if anywhere. Sometimes he looks really good, but there are some mechanics that he just does not have, and I think teams will be looking for players that can do everything. He's a very good positional player, but I think teams mostly are looking for the mechanics first, and they'll figure out position in second. So on that side, that's pretty much everyone from NA. I'm not going to go to teams that didn't make it. I don't really care that much. Europe, flip side, I assume they'll stay together. I don't see a reason why to leave. Like, they've been getting better and better with Greasy lately. So I don't see them changing. But who knows? Maybe they win one. They're all like, all right, cool. I'm going to go do my own thing now. Maybe, who knows? Marky and Cooks might just hate each other. Who knows? But I doubt it. Then we got Northern Gaming. I could see them getting rid of Mystic. I could still, but he had a really good LAN. But I could see them trying to make an improvement there. Unless Remco and Maestro just decide, hey, like we've had a long run. We can't get over this hump. Maybe it's time to separate. But at the same time, Northern Gaming is a really good org to have. So who knows? Then we got, who else? Precision Z. I honestly have no idea. I didn't talk to them much at the LAN. Like, they were very shy. Very quiet guys. I have no idea. I could easily see them splitting up and like trying to get with other teams. Yeah, I would assume that that's what they would do, but who knows? And then we got Mocket. I think Mocket will stay together. They had a really good run. Violent Panda is really coming to his own towards the end of the year, and that was like the last piece of the puzzle that they needed. I assume they stay together, which is shocking because it's a Apache team, but I do believe that they will stay together. Reunited's probably staying together because I think they're under contract. And about all I got from there. Red Eye, I have no idea. All right, let's keep going. Best car, it's Octane, obviously. I love Octane. It really doesn't matter, guys. Choose the car you like. In the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. Just people like certain cars. Did I ever try the volleyball test map? No, never tried that. What do I think of the orbit split? Like, I said most of that. I think Garrett can choose his team. Turtle will probably not be able to get to every single team he wants, but he can be a good teammate. Like, I could easily see, like, say it's Pluto and Espion. Say Classics leaves or something. I didn't mention Genesis, but let's just say Classics leaves, which I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what that team does. I would disband that team and try something new, but they might stay together. But say Classics leaves, Turtle might be a perfect spot there. He seems to have that leadership role. I think Turtle brings a lot to the LAN, even though he didn't play that well at this LAN. He played, I think, decently during Market, sort of, but his second series was not great. But I think he can bring a lot of leadership to LAN. I think he has to. This LAN experience will help him a lot. But that might be something that Genesis needs. I don't know. Who knows? So I can see Turtle going there. I think that team would actually kind of fit well. I honestly don't think Classics did all that well throughout the entire season. He did play that bruiser role a little bit, but I didn't think it was enough. He wasn't getting enough involved on either side of the ball, offensively or defensively. They did try for a lot of pressure, but their offense was kind of shaky with Classics, so I don't really know too much about that. What's wrong with Energy? They seem very cautious at LAN. They play extremely cautious. They don't play their same way. Like, if they play how they normally play versus PZ, PZ wouldn't have the time to do everything. Like, they were letting PZ just have the ball, and they were just hoping PZ would mess up, and PZ was not messing up a lot. So, yeah. So I think they just need to stop being so timid at LAN. Who knows? Maybe after 2 LANs, that experience is going to keep growing, and they'll get a little bit less nervous up on stage. But at the same time, sometimes people are just always nervous up there. Some players can handle it. It seems like Cooks here is super nervous every time the camera's pointed at him, but he plays really well. So, I don't know. Why do you think the stream didn't get as many viewers this time around? Probably a couple factors. Like, the first one was a big LAN. First one was Cosmic versus Flipside in the finals. 2 most popular teams by far. So that's one major reason right there. And of course, like, the terrible time slot, but like, I still would do this all again because for the Europe fans and stuff, it was really nice to do. But you know, it's a bad time slot. There's also a Dota major going on, so it was like a really big event. Last time there was no real big event. There was like a Call of Duty tournament and like some crap League of Legends. I think it was like regionals or something, or what's it called when teams get bounced at. I can't remember what it's called, but there wasn't much competition then, so a lot of people kind of flocked to the RLCS to see. It's like the new thing, but we still got a pretty decent amount of viewers. I think we hit around 60K, so I thought that was pretty good. All right, I'm going to skip a couple of these and then we'll come back. Every player at the finals was 21 and under. Why do you think top players are also the youngest? Well, reaction times are part of it. When you're younger, like at 18 is when you have your best, your best like hand reflexes and all that. Generally, pro players in like any game don't really last past 25 usually. It's really, really rare. And it's also just like they have a lot of time to play before they go pro, and then they can go pro. So because they don't really have to worry as much about a job and all that, like a lot of them probably still live with their parents and all that stuff. So that helps a lot. And then they go pro, and then they can like move out or something possibly, but you have to start that base somewhere. So they just have a ton of time to play. Atlanta, I saw fans approach Markey like he was a god, just touching his arm without saying anything. Felt kind of cringy seeing it. Did something like this happen to you? No, not really. The fans were really nice in Europe. Some of them would look at me, and I wasn't sure if they wanted anything or if they were just looking. But most came up to me and just asked, like, politely if we could take a picture. And I'm like, of course. Like, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm walking around, like, in the lobby between the post show or before the show. Like, that's the reason why I'm there. It's for the fans to come say hi, and because, you know, like, we wouldn't be here without you guys, so we want to, you know, give back as much as we can. And then of course, like, at the after party, I was talking with a lot of people as well there, and, you know, people are very polite, just asking for pictures. I'm like, yeah, of course. But no one was really, like, you know, just touching me and, like, running away, screaming like a girl. You know, everyone just handshakes all around. It's good. It's a good time. All right. What do you think about my bipod's most recent post about playing Rocket League permanently? Do you think he can impact RL like he did SARP with his new activity? So I didn't really know him too well in SARP because I stopped playing SARP pretty early on. So it's going to be hard to tell. Some players, you know, like, Rocket League's a different game than SARP. There's also a lot more competition in Rocket League, and people have put a ton more hours pretty much already than they did in SARP because of all these tournaments for money and all that stuff. So the play is a lot better. I think my bipod's a pretty decent player, but, you know, like, with more play time, he might be able to get to that next level. I could see him being on a league play team. We'll see. Like, he could make a LAN with more time played. It also depends on teammates and all that. But last time they were one game away from making league play, and they almost made it. So with Mike, I assume he's going to stay with Mike. Who knows? So if they get a different third, because I thought Spoonie was like, they can probably make a run at it. Espion said, Let's see. I asked Espeon, and he said none of a team breakup came to his mind. And he made it pretty clear he would like to stick it out with Pluto. Yeah, it seems like Espeon and Pluto have a good thing going. They just got to figure out the land environment. So we'll see if they can continue. The problem is, once you don't make a land, then it's like, then you have to really change it up. And teams like Team Iris are going to be coming up for those spots. Whoever, there's a lot of good players like Vindicator. Everyone thought was way better than Take 3, but Take 3 wins it. Those players from Vindicator are going to be splitting around here or there. There's a lot of competition going on right now in North America for those 4 spots. Who goes to G2, all that stuff. So we'll see. What do you foresee as a timetable between now and next season? The only thing I can say is it will be in 2017. I can't really say too much more about when the next season is. What 3 NA players do you think would make the best team? So we see this question a lot thrown around. My first player would be Garrett, to get Garrett on the team. After that, it gets a little tough. Like, Crow at times looks like the best player in the world, but sometimes I think position-wise it can get a little sketchy, but I would probably still put him on there. And then I'd probably put Fireburner because, like, he can literally do everything. He plays really well defensively, and then he closes out goals. So if he's like that defensive backbone, while Garrett and Crow get to do what they want, as long as Crow rotates a little bit better, that would probably be your best team in NA. But obviously, who knows? Like, easily personalities could clash, or they can't figure each other out. But that's the team I'd probably make. Did I like Amsterdam? And was it your first time? Yeah, it was the first time I was in Europe. So me and the wife, and of course the baby, who's now 10% European, because he's only been alive for about 100 days. So we were out there for 10 days. My wife really liked it. I really liked it. It was fun, obviously. It's a new city. I don't think it was like the best city ever or anything like that. Like, a lot of different countries have, like, they have their signature food and all that stuff. It seemed like the Dutch don't really have a signature food, that they're more about like, yeah, we have everything, which was fine. We ate places or whatever, and of course, me talking about food. But thanks, JJ Todd 89 for the sub. Appreciate it, man. But I thought the food there was not the best in the world. But the places were cool. Like, obviously, it has some history with the Anne Frank house, so that was so I shouldn't say cool to see, but it was an experience. The zoo there was a lot of fun and stuff like that, and like a few other things. The way they have like bikes, trams, cars is like insanely hectic, and I felt really nervous trying to make Giblet cross any streets in a stroller, but yeah, it was fun. Like, it was different, which is what we wanted, and it was nice, but it's like I would rather have my dirty jersey, any day of the week. Mr. Little Thor said it was Wildcard All Stars for League of Legends. Okay, so yeah, it was like some crap League of Legends thing during the first LAN. So that's why we had a little bit less competition. There's a major Dota thing going on, so obviously that's going to pull a ton of viewers. And Booney asks, if RLCS Season 3 is in New York City, can I sleep in your garage? I don't have a garage, Booney. I don't. That's a living room instead of a garage. So you can sleep in my living room, though. That's fine. I'll talk to the wife. We'll make it work. All right, let's keep going on. Is Carpet really such a good dancer? Carpet and James, I guess, are pretty good dancers. Like I don't know what a good dancer is, but I could see them having a dance off. Like, that'd be fun. I think James is better, but Carpet, he had some moves going. I wasn't there for that part because I left a little early because my wife and baby were home sleeping, and I knew that we saw it pack and all that stuff. So I left a little bit earlier, trying to be a responsible parent. Doomsy says Pod can only play 1, maybe max 2 hours a day because of work, and he's always too tired to play properly. Oh, okay. So, if he's only playing 1 or 2 hours, then that that could change a whole lot. And it also depends. So one thing that I've seen, and I talked about it a little bit, I don't think I've talked about it too much on YouTube, is Rocket League's a weird esport where you don't really have pros that continue from game to game. Like, say, if you have a pro in Call of Duty, he'll play all the Call of Duties, obviously. But, you know, when Overwatch comes out, there's a possibility over like not really because it's mouse keyboard, but whatever. But there's other games where it's like, if you're a pro in a shooter, you can generally be a pro in every shooter. Or there's games like that where these pros in Rocket League are kind of coming from all over the place. Some have like a dabbled in pro stuff, like I think a Low Five was like a really good WoW player. Then we had a pro Smite player playing for a while. But a lot of these guys, like, this is brand new to them, this whole pro scene. And work ethic, I think, is a huge problem right now in Rocket League, where players don't have that work ethic behind them of knowing, like, what it takes to stay at, at the top. And I think some of them do. And some don't really have to do it right now. But I think as the game continues to get bigger and bigger, hopefully, and better, these players are going to get better and better, and then you're really going to have to start grinding out hours to stay at your peak. And I think that's when we're going to start seeing some people, like a lot of different players, kind of swap off. Because right now, we still have some SARP vets where, like, I consider them lazy playing-wise, and yet they can still have a pretty successful career right now. But I think as time goes on, it's going to be harder and harder for that to continue. And I think work ethic is a thing that these guys really have to learn to be able to play at their best. Because, like, soon it's going to be your full-time job. For some of these guys, it already is. But yet they'll play 40 hours in 2 weeks, which is not enough at all. But, hey, right now it's working. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think that'll change as time goes on. So we'll see how that works. Get Merc next RLCS? No. No way. We'll be on the desk. All three of us. I'll host. Let's do it. Why not? Do I see RLCS expand into other regions, and why? So I think that'll happen eventually. Like Cloud has said so as well. It's just expansion means a lot more logistics, and it means it's going to take a long time to make it happen. I have no idea if Season 3 has any expansion. I'm pretty sure Twitch doesn't even know yet. So we'll see going into that. But I honestly don't know. The only thing I know is the rough timeline of stuff. But, and who knows, that could easily change too. I hope we get some expansion. Like, I want to see like one Oceanic team, maybe one team from SAM, I guess one team from Asia, and then you have to fill in a 12th spot. So maybe, I don't know, throw a team somewhere else in there. But that would be fun. Like, I doubt they can do too well, but at the same time, we don't know. So, plus it creates really good stories of these guys coming out of the smaller regions trying to play against like the flip sides and stuff like that. The way that would have to work, though, is then the LAN would have to go into group play, probably, and then just have like a top 8 come out of that or something like that. So you would probably have 2 groups, and then you would have a lot more matches in a day, which means we would have to have more days. So that'd have to be like a 4-day event or something like that. So it would have to change with all that. So lots of things to change if you add any more teams. Because right now, we're at a 2-day event, and we're already going like 8 hours both days. So it's a little rough. But, yeah. Is James Water right? Yeah, he's fine. He was fine after the day a little bit. It took a little while. It took like half hour to an hour, I think, for him. For me to at least see him, and he seemed fine. Obviously, he's probably really upset about, not being able to be on the show. But, yeah, he was pretty good on Sunday. So I was just happy that he was okay. Hopefully, we can figure that out and move forward with him. But, yeah, we all want him to get better. Like, obviously, that sucks, having panic attacks on set or whatever. So hopefully he can get better. Like Jacob, Fire, and Garrett. Yeah, that'd be a good team too. Jacob's a good playmaker as well. Like I could see that being a possibility if Garrett's going somewhere. But at the same time, like I think Sad could easily still be on the top 4 team. Let's see what else. Doomsy, you never met Baby Ryan. Doomsy, I think it was Saturday night. I was looking for you. I believe it was Saturday night. I had Baby Ryan. And you were, like, on the other side of the... Oh, no, maybe? I'm not sure. Like, Saturday night, like, I was out there. That was your time, Doomsy. to meet him. So I don't know what you were doing. Hit Streak saying, being at a lot of esport events, there are a lot of socially awkward people who want to come talk to proscasters, but they can't muster courage. Yeah, like that's gonna happen for sure. So I think like those people are the ones that would like look at me. I would try and look at them and like be like, hey, want to come over? But it's hard to tell if that's what they actually want. So but it's nice to just see them come out. Like I'm just happy to see people wanting to come out and watch us like talk about the teams, even though usually when the games are over they're going to get beer, which I would too, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But let's see, we're just gonna keep on going, guys. Where do I think a lot's gonna go? I honestly have no idea. What's your favorite change Sonics has made since RL launch, both for esports and in general? They've been revamping the spectator. Like it took them a little while. They didn't even have a spectator mode at first. So obviously that was a big thing once they realized, hey, this is going to be like a growing esport. I don't think there was a spectator at all at first. Oh, no, there was. It just wasn't like no auto cam. Like spectator came really, really quickly. But they did add that after launch, I believe. So obviously there's still a lot of changes that we need to make, and maybe I'll save the changes that I want to see towards the end. But guys, I'm mostly looking at the ats, by the way. So if you are having other conversations, perfectly fine. But I'm mostly looking at the ats, just to the at Gibbs 00. Just looking through these questions real quick. The F3 all went to Johnny Boy's pre-landed practice. Yeah, like the boot camp. But I also heard the boot camp wasn't... I don't know. I heard sometimes they were having a little probably too much fun. But it seemed to work. It seemed to work out for them. So I can't fault them for that. Is there actually a chance for the next RLCS being in New York City? I have no idea. I hope it's East Coast, and I don't have to travel as far, but I have no idea where it's going to be. Again, Twitch doesn't really know. Like last time... for the Europe stuff, there was other cities that had really good chances, and we didn't know until probably a week before the announcement where it was going to be. Roof Dancer, thanks for helping us at Central Station. I think you were one of the guys helping us. Sorry I didn't really shake hands. We were extremely stressed, and we made our flight by 10 minutes. It was a pain in the ass, but we did make it. Same question I asked Lawler from Seismic White. Best looking person in Rocket League, Bat's eyes. Well, it's a tough one. I would have to say Giblet. Sorry, Seismic, but, Giblet. He's part of RLCS at this point now, I don't know. Or part of Rocket League. So I would say Giblet, probably followed closely by you, Seismic. How did Giblet hold up? He was doing well, Sizey. At night, he was really, really cranky. But besides that, during the day, he was pretty good. Do I like the idea of one-on-one tournaments with RLCS LAN players? No. I don't like trying to split up the modes too much unless we went to like this big thing that was like a week long. And then you might have some like fun events here or there. But I think that's way down the line. Right now, we have to stay focused as a 3v3 game, and 1v1s have a good place in the community, and I'm surprised more orgs don't try and jump on 1s and 2s, but they can do it there. But I think RLCS most of the time should be 3s. Maybe a mid-season mayhem, you mix in more things, like 1s and 2s, but I wouldn't add anything, because then it's just way too much Rocket League. Like, it's already a lot of Rocket League with 3-on-3. How do you guys help Kelly learn about the scene? She did mention that she watched VODs, but was there anything else outside of that? Yeah, so she would sit with us by the desk between games, and we would mention like questions that you might want to ask, or like the history between these teams. And she watched the last LAN, I believe, and she watched like a lot of other things here or there too, but like it's hard to catch everything all in one. So she did the best she could, and then I thought she did a good job. She knew what questions that she kind of wanted to ask as well. She was very professional, and yeah, she was a great host for sure. Screw you, Golden Boy, leaving us. We got Kelly now. What? Thoughts on Wavepunk's belt? He wears that belt every single day. It's just the first time I think it's been on camera, which is pretty hilarious that it was finally on camera. If female players at LAN, maybe an entire team, any prospects. I don't see an entire team anytime soon. The only female player that I think has a chance is Karma. And I think Karma, it's probably on the outside looking in still. I could see her making a league play team. I don't know about much else. Right, like at this moment. But at the same time, it seems like she's been having a hard time trying to find teams. So maybe the players think she's worse than personally what I've seen here or there. I haven't seen a ton from her, though, so I could be way off. But I could see her being on a league play team. I think LAN is going to get a lot harder for North America sides with the new roster reshuffle. Why don't I cast? There's a couple reasons from DJ Lad. Again, my speech impediment's probably not the greatest for casting. I could probably try and practice it more. But also, they really like me on the desk as, like, the core of the desk, and they think I do a good job up there, which is, like, Twitch and the production crew and stuff like that. So that's why I am up there all the time. Yeah, I think I could cast here or there. I'm as color. Like, I can never do play-by-play. That's way too hard for me. But maybe we'll see it next Midseason Mayhem. Maybe I'll practice and get it up there for Midseason Mayhem, and then you'll see me on the casting booth then. Hopefully. We'll see. Do I play Rocket League at all anymore in your free time? I haven't played you since, like, early Season 1. I don't play Rocket League all that much besides when I'm making videos or if I'm streaming. I don't have a lot of time to play. Sometimes I do here or there. If I'm up at a weird time and I'm just like, I want to play something, I usually go back to Rocket League, but I just don't have a ton of time to play. What do I think about a RLCS World Cup? That could be a lot of fun. I could see it for, like, the States for the NA side because it'll be a little different, and then, like, the Europe side could do more of a World Cup thing. So you don't have to go, like, online or anything like that. Or I'm sorry, so you can do it online. And I think that would be kind of fun to do between the states. It'd be hard to organize. Also with Team Orgs, I'm not sure how much they love that. So, because they obviously want to see their team playing in all events whenever they can. So if they're taking time, like these players are splitting up to form different teams and takes a lot of time out of it, they might not like it. But I could see it in the off season when RLCS is not up. Sorry, excuse me. How do you think Iris will do in Season 3? I could easily see them beat a LAN team. Depends on their positioning. I haven't watched them a ton yet, personally, because I've been more focused on the RLCS teams. But if they can get their positioning down, because I know Latch and Squishy sometimes aren't positioning all that well here or there. Latch positions pretty well. It just depends on what role he has, I think. We'll see with that team. Torment, I think, is a good choice for them. I think he's the safe choice. I don't think Torment mechanically is as good as maybe some other players that had a chance to be on that team, but he's a very good positional player. And I think he brings a lot of good defensive traits to that team, which will really, really help him. Thoughts on the new update and crate? I'm happy that Octagon's going to ranked. I think that could be the first map where a lot of pros actually pick it. Maybe in the pro scene, probably not that much, but I could see some teams picking it because it doesn't change much, but it changes enough where like a team with different playstyles. Like I think Flipside could really do well on it because they don't use walls all the time to pass. They like to just use the ground. So I think Flipside could really excel on that map. Why do you think Rocket League is attracted to such young players, or most esports that young? Most esports are really young, just because they have a lot of time to play. So, did I see Mike at the LAN? Yes, I saw Mike Rules at the LAN. I saw him, I think both days, and then I saw him in the after party. We talked a bit. He was really happy, of course, for Flipside Tactics, and he was looking good, so I was happy for that. And yeah, like I didn't have as much time to talk to him as I wanted, but yeah, it was good. What do I think is going to happen with G2? So this is a tough one. It seems like Crow and Over0 are staying together, which I don't know if it's necessarily the best move, but because I don't think Over0 has been performing all that well, but we'll see. But I think it's because more of they moved in together. It's kind of like a thing, and like G2, they're in a contract, yada yada. We'll see if that matters. It seems like JNAPS is probably joining them, but who knows? Because they're still the roster shuffle. We still have till 2017 at some point where the next RLCS will be. So I could see a lot of roster moves coming here or there. I could see Kuroji and Epson over 0 trying for it. I don't think that's necessarily the best team in the world. I think they would be fighting again for a land spot, but it's not guaranteed. But who knows? We'll see. Unless Garrett, heads over there or something like that. But I think Garrett's going to go somewhere else. At the same time, he might want to go G2 because that's probably where the money is. So we'll see. What do you think about Rocket League and specified positions like defense, offense? Nah. There is no way for that. Oh, crap. I just hit my back button on my Twitch dashboard, so I just lost some questions. That's fun. So, oh, wait. I think they're back. Okay. I think I still have them. Most of them. I think I missed some, but if I missed it. Yeah, Kelly was doing great. And then the marquee joke with Greasy, I was like, shit. I should have mentioned that. Or I should have, expanded on it more. Because she missed the boat on that, but that's fine. I mean, that happens. Let's see. Seism White said, 1 year ago you said you'd appear in the Rocket League calendar in December with a full spread. Are you still honoring your word to me? See, so I've been talking to the casters about this a lot. I really wanted to do a Rocket League calendar, but we're all way too lazy and we don't have green screens or we don't have good Photoshopping material. I would have loved if we did a calendar with all different months, and I already had planned out some of the months. So I would take August, and so I'd be laying down, not wearing anything, and with just a hard hat over the general area, and then I'd be on Wasteland though, so I'd just be laying on Wasteland or in a chair, I guess, on Wasteland at the beach with just a hard hat covering it. And then we had one for in November, we would have Leaf outside the window while all the casters are enjoying Thanksgiving dinner because he's Canadian. Now Shogun's here, so that adds a little different element too. But we could have had a lot of other ones. Springtime, we could have had James the pigeon, just eating away at some food. Yeah, we had a lot of different ideas, but we're all way too lazy. Let's be truthful here. Would have been a good time. All right, let's continue here. I'm going to close this out pretty soon. Hey, thanks, Jen, for coming, man. I'm happy that people try to use my YouTube as a starting off point, and then they move on to bigger and better things, which is perfectly fine with me. That's kind of what I'm going for. Just build the community from the base. Just build them up to be better players, and then everyone gets better because of it. So that's what I'm really trying for. Is RLCS going to swap back and forth, or is it going to be 2 in the US, 1 in EU each year? I don't know how many events is going to be in each year, but one thing I would have liked, say they did a summer and a winter one, I would have loved if they swapped it. I was talking with the Beckwith brothers, and they were saying, I think it was Adam. I don't think Ben was there at the time, but he was saying, yeah, it would have been perfect if this was swapped, so we get to go to Europe in the summer, and then Cali in the winter, because it would still be really nice out. So that would have been better if they were swapped, but obviously, they wanted Cali first because it was local, so production, it was an easier job, obviously, for the first event. It makes a lot more sense, but for weather-wise, it would have been great if it was swapped. So, who knows? And who knows if we expand to other regions? Because he won in Australia. I could be taking a really long flight. Okay. Next RLCS, we're doing this. All right. Sounds good, Seismic. Let's get a calendar going for 2018, I guess. Because we can't do it now at this point. But, I wish I had green screen stuff. I would so do it. Then we send it all to Seismic. He puts it together. We throw it up on Patreon. We donate the money to charity. We'll pay Seismic a little bit for it. And boom, it'd be good to go. Booney, I will not join your team. Not doing it. Let's see what else we got here. Are we going to pick up a new team for Season 3? I don't know. They kind of got shafted. Well, it wasn't shafted. The contract with Orbit was only through the LAN. So that's why these guys had a chance to split. I could see them trying it again. Depends on how successful it was. I'm not sure how successful it was for them. And thoughts on Penta Esports in EU. They're looking good in recent tournaments. They were looking good before, and then they collapsed in qualifiers. that could have been just one bad day. I'm hoping personally. So let's get into the changes that I want to see, and like after these next two questions, and then I'll close out the show. Chance of a London land in the next couple of years. Actually, London was one of the prime spots that they were looking at for this RLCS. Just didn't work out. When is RLCS going to Canada? Never. We're never going to Canada. I'm dead serious, all organized, but you need to tell Science to hire me for it. There you go. That's what we need to do. Come on, Science. What are you doing? Hire Seismic already. Jeez. How do you feel about the tweet that said your dad was the strongest NA performance in the land? I thought it was pretty good. I forgot to retweet it because I was kind of busy that day, but yeah. All right, Merc, I'm never teaming with you either. All right, so the final thing for this video, questions. We're going a little bit long here. I never actually hit start recording, but that's fine. I'll just grab it from the Twitch VOD. So changes going into next year. Like, I would love to see them expand the qualifiers. I think it'd be really cool if we had more of like a consistency over just like you play on one day, and if you have a bad day, you're out for 3 months or however long it is. So I'd love to see that where it's like multiple tournaments, maybe a point system. Sure, it's confusing, but it's only qualifiers. It makes a little bit more sense from qualifiers. We just have points over like, I don't know, 4 tournaments or something like that. We probably won't get as many signups, or it'd be really hard to have like 6,000 teams sign up for each. So there's always that problem. There's always problems with every solution, obviously. So we'll see where it goes from that. I made Fisho 6, so job well done by me. So I would like to see that change. As far as the casters, like not changes, obviously, but just talking about how they did. I thought everyone did an amazing job. Carpet, Lawler, and Shogun, they all had to go on the desk when they weren't supposed to at all for that weekend, and they all killed it. Even Gregan killed it, so I'll explain the Gregan situation. So it wasn't planned, obviously, or like it looked pretty decent, actually. If only he put the cord behind his back, he probably would have been perfect. But with all the weird production issues on Saturday, because we had to swap around our schedule, because James wasn't feeling all that great. Carpet was told he was off when he was still supposed to be on desk. So we're about to come back from break, and I knew that the Team Rocket guys, or at least, I'm sorry, the Reunited guys and Gregan and a few other guys were sitting all like right to my left. Like they were sitting up in the high seats on the right side. So the first person I was looking for with 30 seconds to go was Doomsy. So I thought, hey, like bring like another player up that was playing. Obviously people would know who he is. It would make a lot of sense. But I couldn't find him. And then I saw Greg, and he just got back from, I don't know, the bathroom or going to get a drink, and he was like climbing over to go to a seat. And I just start screaming at him with 10 seconds left. I'm like, Gregan, get over here right now. He's like, and he was like dumbfounded. He's like, what? Like, I don't understand. Like, why would I be on the show or whatever? So I had to keep screaming at him over and over and over again until he finally came up. He literally put the headset on, and I was just like, now you're doing this. So, like, I knew Gregan's like a pro at casting, so I knew he'd be fine on the desk. And he did a fantastic job. He was so happy afterwards, and we all thanked him for it. And I thought it went pretty well. But yeah, like it was a pretty funny moment. With having like other special guests during a live final, so I think that would be cool, but I think there's a lot of logistics behind it that technically they're supposed to sign like forms or something. Like I have no idea how this works, so we'll see on that. I'm gonna cough out something real quick. All right, we're back. So I have no idea how that all works. That's not my job. Who knows? But yeah, that'd be cool to have some special guests on the desk and talk to them, or like other pros that didn't make the LAN here or there would be cool. But I think that would be more if we expanded, which everything is more about expansion. And obviously with changes, it would be awesome if we can expand. I'm not sure the logistics behind that, if that's going to happen anytime soon, but that would be really cool. Like expanding either show days or adding more show elements, like, I don't know, talk show or something in the middle of the week, kind of what like League of Legends does, like a mixture of TTT and DFH, but more solidified or more compact, I should say. Like say you take NFL Live or something. It's a half an hour show. They do it Monday through Friday, obviously, which we wouldn't do. We'd probably do 1 hour show every week. But you could have segments, and it would be compact. It just depends on how much work that really is, because it would take a lot of work to do. But that would be really cool to do. And then, of course, expansion of casters. Like, that would be great. But right now, there's really no place for it. Like, I'll even add in Shogun, it adds this element of 3 play-by-plays, and they get a lot less time up on the caster booth. And usually at live finals, we want a consistent desk. We didn't have it this time because of the problems, but that's usually what we want. So we'll see how that goes. I don't see expansion of casters yet, but if there's an expansion of the tournament, then we could see that, because maybe some people do 2 days and someone else does 2 days or something. Let's say it's Thursday through Sunday, which I don't think will happen, but maybe eventually. Then we could have like 2 different casting groups of like, these guys do it Thursday and Friday, and these guys do it Saturday and Sunday. Maybe shorter streams or something like that would be cool. These are all just like random thoughts that I was having. But I think the league play system is pretty good. Like, I liked the regular season. Like, I thought it was exciting. It made every game very important. I like best ofs more than sets. Like, I know sets make stats a little bit cleaner and all that, but best ofs are just way more hype. So I'd rather see that stay the same. Obviously, tiebreakers have to be adjusted, but I talked to them even before the tiebreakers. But those will definitely be changed next time. I think a lot of the rules are going to be looked at a little bit closer this time around. And one other thing that I want to bring up that I brought up before on DFH is player contracts. Now, these aren't going to be through RLCS at all. But I think every team that has a reasonable shot at making money in the RLCS should write out player contracts of how the money is split up. There's a lot of problems with, say, Lethamyr, for example, or even Chrome. Let's go Chrome. So Chrome's example of, he plays all season. He makes $3,500, I think. So he makes a third of the $3,500. Lawler, thanks for the host, man. Love you, buddy. So he makes a third of $3,500 because that's how much they make for playing throughout the entire league play. Then they go into playoffs and they replace him. They didn't improve at all. They got 6th. He should get a third of that $1,000. And then, of course, there's arguments, well, it's like he didn't play, so why does he get it? But the minimum of what he did is got them to $1,000 in 6th place. So he should get a third of that money. Now, if they won any more than that, say they get 5th, then that extra $500, a third of that should go to Prem. But I don't think Prem deserves, no offense, Prem, any money from this season. I honestly have no idea how the RLCS hands out money, but I think players need to start signing contracts with their teams to figure out percentages of where the money goes. Hey, Puff, thanks for the bits, man. Love you, dude. Oh, I guess he got his 10K badge. Appreciate it, man. That noise is still on. That was the only noise I didn't turn off. Damn it. So close. But I think, say, even with like Lethamyr, he got them qualified. Does he deserve a third of $3,500? Personally, I would say he does, because at that point in stage, all they have to do is show up for the game. So he deserves a third of that money. That could be argued here or there, but that's why, like, I would love, what I think I'm going to do for season 3 is, if any teams want it, like, I will have a template of a player contract of like how the money gets split up based on percentages of play, based on like even if you want to pay subs that are available to play, like a small portion, so they actually are there practicing and all that stuff. But of course, that template can be changed based on what these teams want, and then you have to get everyone to sign it so then they can agree on what money goes where. I doubt anyone's going to try and sue anyone over any of this money, but it's always good to have things in writing and have things signed to figure out where this money goes. Because say, like, next season's $1 million or something. That's a lot of money to just be like, I don't know who gets paid if they kick me off in the last week of the season. Do I get no money? It's like, that's kind of bullshit. So I think teams and players, the ones with orgs can probably figure this out on their own. but still, like, I think I'm going to make a template of player contracts that teams are free to use however they want and sign them and save them as copies, so you can protect yourself and protect your other teammates from money situations. I think that'd be a really good idea. But yeah, I just wanted to go through that rant there. And on that, guys, I think I'm going to end this here, even though Lawler just hosted me. I'll try and find someone else. But that'll do it for this Ask Me Anything on RLCS. I thought it was a blast. I had a ton of fun. Personally, I thought the first one, in my heart, is better just because it's the first one. You can't really experience that again. But I thought the quality of the games were a lot better here in season number 2. The only thing I wish was North America maybe had a better chance at it. Like, we always want to see a Europe versus North America final. It's just more exciting. So maybe Orbit like could have had that chance like to make a run. But I thought it was a lot of fun. Thank you, Brobo Cop, for the sub. I am dying from coughing too much. Excuse me. I'm really happy I didn't cough on stream. It was really close to, a couple of times, but yeah, like, ton of fun. The only thing I wish was the European crowd was maybe a little bit louder, or maybe doing more chants. Like, we need to start getting some team chants going for these teams, so we can cheer them on a little bit more and get the crowd more involved. That would have been a lot more fun. But yeah, we'll see where the next LAN is. I will be there, of course. Hopefully, I don't know. And I'll be there for the next RLCS season again. Hopefully, I think they like me. I don't know. And if they don't, just keep blasting them on Twitter, saying that you love me. It's perfect. It'll just annoy the crap out of JDell. Just go ahead. At JDDell15, I think. Just say I love Gibbs to him or something. Just go for it. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. The fans were great in Europe. I loved meeting everyone. It's so humbling when we get to go to an event and, like, we're almost like rock stars. Not to that extent, but kind of close. Like, everyone knows who you are. We were in the train station, and I think it was like 5 to 10 random fans saw us, and I just told them, hey, come grab the stroller. We need to bring Giblet up the stairs. We can't find the elevator. And they helped us bring it up. And, like, the best part is I can trust my fans, like, with my kid. Like, I know that we're pretty good there. So it's just a great community we have here. Let's keep growing it. Let's keep making it better. Let's try not to bash each other too much. Like, I love criticism. I love reading it all. Like, I see it on Reddit. It's great. But yeah, just try to avoid bashing for just the sake of bashing. But I think we do a pretty good job at it in our community. So thanks for that, guys. And yeah, I love you guys so much. And I am going to find someone to host. So this will be the end of the YouTube video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and good night. All right.